Hey everybody, thanks for watching and happy 4th of July. I decided to add some fireworks to my background just to be festive, but I have been MIA for a while, kind of. I had to do a hell of a side quest with the USS Liberty Remembrance Day proclamation. So, anybody who hasn't seen my last video, if you go back, I think it's only 15, 20 minutes. It's the ceremony. I got the governor to sign and approve, and he declared June 8th, 2026 as USS Liberty Remembrance Day in Missouri. The first time in Missouri history that it has happened, and nationwide, I don't think it has happened in over 3 decades. So I'm very honored to be part of something like that and be put in the history books. And I know Bryce is very grateful. Larry, Phil, the crew, the Veterans Association, they're very appreciative. And yeah, it was awesome. But now I got to get back in the saddle. Today's video, I was going to do it on the new data center that is going in Independence, Missouri.
America, the beautiful. A nation of adventurers and innovators, survivors and competitors. But these days, too many of us are scrolling social media, laughing away our despair. It may seem like the best choice as we face the mockery of American politics, because we recognize the false binary presented to us. We recognize the enemies of prosperity. But we should never see America as two parties against each other. We should never be striving to conquer each other. As far as laughing, we don't want it to end. We want it to be in celebrations of success, together. That is why we are one party, a party for the people. The party of the few, but the party of truth. We will rise from the bottom, under those that have disgraced this nation, and we will rise with the people, because we are the people. We are the Constitution Party.
So in Independence, Missouri, the data center that they're bringing in is owned by Nebius. And Nebius is treating Independence, Missouri as a major hyperscale AI project. It's like an infrastructure project, and it is a massive campus. It's not just one huge building with a bunch of clustered GPUs in it. It's 4 buildings. It's going to span over, I think 400 acres. I'll check my notes here. I got the packet from the city pulled up and my own little notes I'm going to read off of. So, people who don't know Nebius, they are based out of Amsterdam, their headquarters, and they are owned by a Russian, Arkady Velos. I hope that's how you pronounce it. And he is the founder of Yandex. And for people who don't know Yandex, it is pretty much the Russian Google. And once the Ukraine war broke out and the Russian invasion of Ukraine, he left to Israel. I think he denounced his citizenship and he sold all of his assets of Yandex. And then he is focused now on Nebius. But Nebius owns several other smaller companies and have their hands in a lot. So I'll get into that. Let's see. So they have roughly 1,300 employees. That was from last year. And their other assets that Nebius owns are Avride, which is autonomous tech and mobility. I believe that's for like your self-driving vehicles, drones, and Triple 10, which is a coding boot camp. So a lot of the coding jobs that were lost with Python and Java that they're having AI take over now, Triple 10's responsible for a lot of that. And they already have a coding boot camp in Independence, I believe. let's see. Yeah, it's already active in Independence, Missouri, and they also have massive stakes in Toloka and ClickHouse. And then they have massive customers inside tech firms such as Microsoft, Meta, and Shopify. So the existing or developing data centers and GPU clusters are in Finland, which is supposed to be allegedly an energy efficient flagship. And then they also have data centers in Paris, Kansas City. That's separate from Independence. They already have some functional in Kansas City, and Vineland, New Jersey. And then now the gigawatt scale campus that they're wanting to build in Independence. And they have a huge, it's like Trump, huge, but they have a massive NVIDIA partnership of $2 billion in Nebius with NVIDIA. So NVIDIA is like the grim reaper of military AI. And a lot of our congressmen and senators buy shares in NVIDIA. It's very convenient, the timing whenever they buy these shares and they sell them and they buy them and they share them. And if you want to track that, you could get on Quantum Quantitative, I believe is what the app's called, and it will give you notification anytime a holder of office purchases shares and when they sell them and for how much. And it's very, very funny because I've seen a lot with NVIDIA when it was real cheap, 100 something dollars. I mean, dozens were buying it. And then all of a sudden, 2 days after they bought it, whoom, they got a bunch of government contracts. And then you look at the congressmen and senators who are buying these shares are also in part of like the committees that vote on who gets the contracts. So that's pretty wild. But there is no insider trading, though. I'm not accusing them of insider trading. Let's see. Nebius emphasizes owning, operating its own large-scale facilities for control, efficiency, and to meet exploding AI compute demand. So this is the project details that I pulled from the Independence packet. So you'll have to forgive me as I read off of it because I can't retain all this to stare at you. So the location is in Eastern Independence, Missouri, that is adjacent to the Eastgate Commerce Center at Eastgate Development, developed by North Point Development. It's a large industrial business park. Specific area is near Little Blue Parkway and Missouri Highway Route 78, northeast of their intersection with references to is that Boulevard Road vicinity? I believe. So it is 400 acres. Well, 398, but I like to round up because it's probably actually more than that. It's 400 acres and there was no eminent domain used. The land was already zoned for industrial business park uses. So the data centers are already permitted and there's no zoning required, at least within Independence, to build a data center inside an industrial zone already. So it sits within a broader 1,200 acre Eastgate economic development area. So the scale of this, it is a multi-building campus, like I've said before. There's up to 4 primary buildings or phase structures. The total building space is approximately 2.25 to 2.5 million square feet. This thing is massive. The total power capacity is supposed to be up to 1.2 gigawatts, full build out. It is designed as a full stack AI factory supporting data model training through production deployment with substation, switch yards, equipment yards, water features, stormwater management, landscaping, and of course, security guard shacks. So this isn't like, because we've had data centers around for a long time, but that was the old school data centers as far as like your Facebook, Instagram, Snapchat. Every message you send, every picture you post, video you post, anything you do on social media gets stored into a cloud. Well, the cloud is a data center, and they just store all your passwords, even like my YouTube channel, all my videos I post. I don't think they require as much resources as these training AI models do. And this is a massive data model training AI data center. So that's kind of concerning. I wonder, I need to take a deep dive and see if Nebius is involved with Flock. I do know that Nebius helps build the GPUs and the AI model for Lavender. And people who don't know what Lavender is, it is a AI system that Israel uses for facial recognition to identify people and to label the threat of targets before they hit them with an airstrike. So I really hope they're not using the data center here in Independence, Missouri for something like that, especially for a foreign nation. But also, too, it probably is being used for the flock cameras. I just have that really gut instinct. That way they could track the single mother in the minivan doing 10-mile-an-hour over. It reads her license plate, the VIN number, gets the Bluetooth footprint from the phone and the radio to figure out everything there is about her so they can log it. And then when she swerves over the double yellow lines, a robotic Benjamin Netanyahu comes out with his double fisted Goy blaster and just starts leveling everything. That was out of pocket. So we all know December 2025, the land was acquired. And then it was January through March of 26 when they had all those community open houses and the city study sessions. And I've seen, I don't know if you guys have seen it, but I've seen the reels where they packed City Hall in protest, the citizens of Independence. They packed City Hall in protest, so they do not want this data center. They voiced their concerns. They brought evidence, other stories from other towns and communities that have data centers and the damage and the noise volume and the balls of the city council. They're looking at this packed city hall, the lines all the way out around the building. There's people out front protesting, and they still vote yes on it. You would think, well, I guess the St. Louis situation happened after, because the same situation happened in St. Louis, if I remember correctly. And then when the election come, they all got voted out when the election comes. So I imagine that's going to happen in Independence. And there's a woman said that it was pretty badass. She stood up at the end of it and she stared them down and she goes, "We'll see you guys in the voters booth." So not like that really even matters anymore anyway. So the big debate with these data centers is the resources they require on top of the mass surveillance that they're used for. So whenever I look at the resource requirements that they gave to the city of Independence, we went over the 1.2 gigawatt capacity that they require. And then the primary supply of that is a new privately financed natural gas fueled power generation facility developed by Independence Power Partners, IPP. And it is a private entity. And they also have references to other ventures involving water and cooling. Fantastic. And this one is supposed to be a newer style setup when it comes to water consumption. They are claiming it uses a closed loop, low consumption cooling system designed for a minimum ongoing consumptive water use, comparable to a restaurant, office building, or convenience store such as Quick Trip. Excuse me. Yeah, I'm not buying that. Yeah, wait till you go take a crap at Quick Trip and there's no water to flush the toilet. So it is a one-time system fill, 1,000,000 gallons per building. So they already stated they're having 4 buildings on this campus. This is a massive campus. So if the building is 200 megawatts, they require 1,000,000 gallons. That is stupid. and only requires a 20% annual replenishment. At full phase build out, recurring usage estimated at 400,000 to 640,000 gallons per year total for the staff and process support, roughly about 1750 gallons per day, 1,750 gallons per day. The city's Courtney Bend water treatment plant has ample capacity, they claim. Average 28 million gallons per day production. The top non wholesale customer in Independence uses far more daily at 162,000 plus gallons. No industrial wastewater discharge into stormwater systems, separate detention ponds. And then they have a little footnote here says this is a key sustainability differentiator versus traditional evaporative cooled hyperscale data centers that can consume millions of gallons annually. I mean, I like the direction they're heading as far as trying to limit water consumption. But 1,000,000 gallons of building, that's a crazy amount. So now we get to the sweet part, which is my favorite that I love checking on. I probably should have got a job for the IRS, the internal, or the, was it the Israeli revenue system? So tax revenues through the Missouri Chapter 100 Industrial Development Bond, so IDB. It's a program and it's a standard incentive tool. So the project is structured with city issued revenue bonds, nominal total up to 150.6 billion across phases slash structures for property and equipment. And what this does is it allows a significant property tax abatement. So you and me, we got to pay our property tax. Well, I don't live in Independence, but the residents and citizens of Independence, they still have to pay their property tax. They don't get abatement. But this super mega IDF data center that they're building in Independence, they don't have to pay property tax. So it's 98% on real property, 90% on personal equipment property for 20 years, plus plus sales tax exemptions on construction materials and certain equipment, estimated hundreds of millions in value. So we're going to get rid of income tax, more than likely, because people aren't really paying attention to the whole Hancock Amendment. So we're going to get rid of income tax. They're going to increase, they could double, triple, do whatever they want with sales tax. They could add sales tax to electronics as far as like Netflix, your subscriptions. But these data centers, they don't have to, all these building materials, not as 98%, 90% to 98%, they don't have to pay sales tax on. So here's the trade off. In return, Nebius makes payments in lieu of taxes, totaling roughly 651.5 million in over 20 years. So we're giving them just the sales tax exemptions alone, not including the property tax exemptions and abatements. Hundreds of millions of dollars in value off as it is. And they're only going to pay 651.5 million in over 20 years. Tell you, we see who's in charge. It's like those, well, they brought it up in the Fallout series, and I agree with it. When you watch the old Western movies and you have your cattle farmers who take over all the land on the outside of town and they run the cattle, they control the cattle. They're in charge of the sheriff. They run the town. They control the resources. And that's where we are with these big corporations. And it's not just these AI data centers. We see it with Walmart, Target, Microsoft, Google. You know, you go to these small towns and you hardly see any mom and pop stores anymore. They've all been ran off. They corner the market. They run everybody off, corner the market, and then they could charge and tax wherever the hell they want to. There's nobody else around as competition. And they're the ones calling the shots. If you get on the Ethnics Commission, like on their website for Missouri alone, not including on a federal level, but just in Missouri, and you look at these super PACs, political action campaigns, and how much money is being given to our state politicians, which is a part-time gig. They make, I think, on the highest end, like a state rep might be 40,000, might be a little bit more. If you, I think they get like a per diem maybe, and then they get 50 to $100,000 from gaming, the gaming pack for like casinos, and then they get another 50,000 from agriculture packs. And then you have Ameren, who they just steamroll everybody. They give hundreds of thousands of dollars, sometimes millions, as far as campaign packs to our politicians. And then you see it firsthand, which this is more at a city level, but you see it firsthand in things like this. When you pull up their their party whenever they're running for election, and you see all these PACs who are giving them money, and then they get elected, you see what they vote on. We're not the ones getting the tax breaks. It's the one that's already giving them $200,000 when they're running for election. Why does a state rep that's in charge of maybe 2 or 3 counties, why do they need $200,000 to drive around to go meet the elderly people at the nursing home? Because people like us are working. We don't have time to drive around and go listen to their bullshit story about how they can relate to us. Oh, yeah, I remember whenever I was 8 years old, my nanny called in sick and the light bulb went out in my bedroom. So I had to walk all the way down to the basement, in my 4-story house, and get a light bulb and go up and put the light bulb in myself. So I relate to the blue collar working class families. Fuck you do.